so my name is Samantha M Clark. I'm the author of The Boy, the Boat, and the Beast, which came out a couple years ago from Simon and Schuster, Paula Wiseman Books imprint, and the upcoming Arrow, which also comes out from Paula Wiseman Books, Simon and Schuster, as well as Arrow comes out on June 22nd, and then I have this book, which I don't have a copy of yet, American Horse Tales Hollywood, which is book 2 of the American Horse Tales series, and that comes out on June 29th, a week after Arrow. So I'm really, really thrilled. It's very fun, and I'm also the regional advisor of the Austin chapter of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, which is why I'm thrilled to be, at this booth today, because the Society does amazing things. A huge thank you to the Southwest chapter for organizing the booth this year. You've done an amazing job, and it's been so wonderful. I can't wait to watch everyone's videos from Zooms from all of Texas Library Association. So a little bit more about my books. The Boy, the Boat, and the Beast is about a boy who woke up on a beach and he doesn't know who he is, where he is, or how he got there. All he knows is that every time he tries to leave, everything turns scary. And then finally he sees a light shining over the trees, and he decides to try and follow it. Maybe it's his parents trying to find him. So, and then along his journey to uncover all of his memories, he has to face all of his biggest fears. It's kind of spooky, and I kind of liken it to the boy as being that kind of scared little 10-year-old who's inside, I think, just in about every one of us, including me. And then Arrow is about a boy called Arrow who grows up. He's the only human being who has grown up inside a rainforest that has been hidden away for years and years and years. And the book explains how he got in there as the only human. But it's been hidden away. It's in a futuristic world, and it's been hidden away to try and protect itself. And but then, right at the beginning of the book, the magic that's been hiding it away has been slowly depleting. And Arrow and the Guardian Tree, who's the narrator of the story, the Guardian Tree, they don't know why the magic's depleting. They're trying to figure it out. But meanwhile, there's this plane crash at the beginning, and people from the outside world are coming in, and they discover this place of lush and treasures, and they, of course, want to use it for their own needs. But Arrow does find some allies along the way too, because some kids also find the hidden rainforest at the same time as these adults, and of course they're kids, so they help along the way as well. It's a fantastic book for Earth Day, especially. It's told by a guardian tree, and even though it's magical, every part of the magic is set in actual science. So you actually learn how soil is made within the plot of the story. You learn how soil is created, amongst lots of other fun things. And Arrow also has a limb difference, and he has one hand, and his left arm ends at the end of his wrist. And I had some amazing expert readers who helped me make sure that I had that representation absolutely right. We had expert readers from that. We had expert readers from Amerindians in Guyana, and my cousin in Guyana who live in the Amazon in Guyana, and my cousin who actually works with Amerindians in Guyana too was an expert reader as well, making sure that we had everything just right for it. And then finally, June 22nd is Arrow, and then a week later comes out this darling horse book. Yay! And American Horse Tales Hollywood is the second book in this series. 2 books are coming out on June 22nd. The first one is called Dust Bowl, and I haven't read it yet, but that one's a historical, and I'm dying to read it. I'm dying for it to come out so that I can read it. And then there's going to be 2 more that are coming out I think later on in the year, and then a 5th one coming out next year. And mine, Hollywood, is about this girl, Juniper. And Juniper's dad trains horses for movies and TV shows. And Juniper and her horse, her favorite horse, Abel, Juniper's favorite TV show is Castle McAvoy. And then she finds out that her horse, Abel, is going to be auditioning for Castle McAvoy, to be on Castle McAvoy. And she's like, you know, she really, really wants to be a stunt rider, but her father's like, no, no, no. The animals in the family are the actors, not us. You have school on a Thursday. But she thinks that Abel might not be able to get the role without her there, of course.
Right.
So she sneaks into the trailer and goes to the audition and helps out, and might magically, well, not magically, but might actually get herself a role on the show, become a stunt person on the show as well. But then she's got to prove that she can actually do it for real. So that's what this book is about, and it's coming out from Penguin Workshop, and I love the series, the inside. They've done a fantastic job with the inside too, and I can't wait to get the actual copies. And so yeah, that's my books that are coming out this year and last year. Does anyone have any questions or?
Just that you had me at stunt horse, you know.
Yes. It's so fun. When I was, I think middle school, I met a girl whose dad did train horses for Hollywood.
Really?
Yes, I really did. She was really, she was cool. Man, I wanted to be her so bad.
Oh, I'm sure.
But,
I did so much research on the training and watched all these videos, and these kids who are doing this are amazing. The reason I chose this story was actually because I used to work for a sister publication for Variety, which is, you know, if anyone you know about movies and stuff, Variety is a magazine, movie magazine. So I worked for a sister publication which dealt with the home entertainment industry, and I was at the managing editor for the magazine for many years. And during that time, I was also a journalist for the magazine, so I used to go onto sets all the time and, you know, write about, you know, the movies and write about what they were doing. And, you know, we would do a lot with, as well, with, you know, the production side of it. So when this opportunity to write for this series came up, I loved the idea of pitching something with a girl and a horse and movies, and luckily the publisher loved the idea too. and it, you know, it's a fun story. But every single one of these stories, it's as I said, it's got 5 books in the series, and the first 2 are coming out on June 29th, and every single one of them is very, very different stories, but they're all aimed around a girl and a horse, which I really love. Really
so
fun.
but they're not the same characters. It's not the same girl in the.
No. I'd actually, there's in my book, there's a forum, Hoofprints, I think it's called Hoofprints Writers Forum, something like that Juniper goes on and she gets advice, and, you know, there's like Instagram hashtags that she follows. But and I had sent to the editors, you know, maybe we could make this like a thing for all of the books. But one of the books, at least one, I think only one, the first book, the one that comes out the same day as mine, is a historical. So that really wouldn't work. Yeah, for that one. It would have been fun to have that connection if they were all contemporary, but they're not. But I know that one of the books, either book 3 or book 4 is set in Hawaii, which is fun. And it's a girl who wants to be a rodeo rider in Hawaii. And I can't remember what the other 2 are, but they all looked really good.
So Sam, how did you find out about this? Did you get this through your agent?
Yes, I did. Yeah, my agent emailed me and said, hey, there's, you know, Penguin has this, is, you know, looking for pitches for a new series. It's a horse and a girl. Do you want to pitch something? And that was all I was given, like a horse and a girl. They did give examples. So they did say, you know, could be like, you know, horses. I think they did mention movies, And I think they mentioned like therapy horses, and so they gave a couple examples if you wanted to try those. And so I tried the movie one because that was close to my heart and my background and what I knew. And yeah, and then they chose it. But yeah, it was my agent. And I always say to writers, if you're interested in doing this kind of work, tell your agent, because they might not know and they might not be looking out for opportunities like this for you. But my agent does. She routinely will let me know if there's something that she thinks that I could be right for. If there's a project that I'm not right for, then she won't.
Good.
Totally good.
Cool.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. You have beautiful books, and I mean, in a pretty short amount of time, right? This has been like the 4 years past, or
Yeah. Boy the Butt and the Beast came out in 2018, which was 3 years ago. And then Arrow, and so I'm making up for lost time. Arrow and The American Horse Tales Hollywood are both coming out a week apart today, or a week apart this year.
One question: how long did it take you to write your first book? Because a lot of people say it was 10 years. Some people go, "Oh, I did it," and yours is a novel, so it's a pretty long book.
It is. Well, so Arrow was, I mean, The Boy, the Butt, and the Beast is 45,000 words, which is shorter for a fantasy novel, but it's pretty much one character throughout. So it's not, it's got some complex storytelling, but the story is pretty streamlined. Whereas Arrow is 75,000 words. It's much thicker.
And how much of that is the soil portion of the book?
Not so much, just a few paragraphs. But from first draft to publication, Arrow took 10 years.
Wow.
10 years. Now,
wow.
Between that time, I wrote 6 novels in all before and Arrow, no, actually, since before that, I wrote 6 novels in all. But after I wrote The Boy, the Butt, and the Beast was the 3rd novel that I wrote. Then I wrote 3 more before I signed with my agent. So I would write a novel, I'd write another novel, and then I'd go back and revise The Boy, the Butt, and the Beast. Write another novel, learn even more, go back and revise even more. And because every time you write a new novel, you learn more stuff, and you can use that in your revisions for your previous work.
We have one more minute, and I wanted to ask you a question because I've been working on a novel and I've been shocked.
Yes.
So let me ask you, what is the strangest thing that you learned when you were like really into the novel writing? Was there
process-wise or craft-wise?
I
Like
would
process-wise?
Process-wise, yeah.
It really is different for me for every novel, and I've learned, I've learned a lot with each novel. Now I think I've written like 8 novels now, and it's a lot. I've learned a lot of stuff, and my process is constantly changing.
Right.
My process now it's even changed after Arrow. For American Horse Tales, the process was different than it was for Arrow. And I actually have some other books coming out next year, and the process was different. They're not announced yet, but those have a different, had a different process as well, because I'm constantly evolving, finding new tools. But one of the best things for me, one of the things that completely changed my writing, at least plot-wise, structure-wise, because structure was difficult for me at first, and it was difficult to get this big picture, this big story into my head and deal, when I'm dealing on a scene level. So the biggest thing for me was that midpoint. And I watched the Dan Wells story structure videos, which I highly recommend. They're on YouTube. I recommend them to everybody. They changed things for me and really helped me to kind of dig much more into structure and that midpoint. And that midpoint was huge for me. It really helped to solidify kind of the tent pole of the story. So I had, somewhere to go for the beginning and then somewhere to go toward the end. And that helped me a lot. I mean, there's still a lot of points in the middle, in between, but that helped me a lot.